Locked On Podcast Network presents Locked On Sports Today.
Did the LA Clippers blow game one or did the Denver Nuggets win it? Well, game two was supposed to tell us. Plus, Cade Cunningham will head back to Detroit with a Pistons win in New York. And if you want Tetairoa McMillan, you better have a top 10 pick. This episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNFL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year.
I'm Peter Bukowski, starting your day with the can't-miss stories and biggest debates in sports. You're Locked On Sports Today.
Searching all major sports. Found.
Let's start with the biggest story.
The Clippers and Nuggets got together for a second game in Denver. Sparks were expected to fly. I mean, not in the arena. That would be dangerous. But we expected an intense game. And our Locked On hosts recapped.
I don't think there was anything surprising about the turnover margin being equal. Even now, it was pretty obvious. So, I think if we take a look at the late game stuff to me, and there was so many. The three that come to mind are the Aaron Gordon missed dunk, Michael Porter Jr.'s turnover where he suffers a shoulder injury, which we'll talk about later, and Jokic missing free throws. And the combination of those led to the decision not to call the timeout, Christian Brown getting stuck on an island, ironically on above the break three. He doesn't pass to Russell Westbrook in the corner. He resets, badly misses a three-pointer at the buzzer, and the Nuggets lose this game. To me, these are all these are decision problems, right? The decision making for a team that has always been very good, especially Joker. Joker's turnover in that late fourth quarter was atrocious. That was an atrocious turnover, and people are going to crawl all over themselves to be he's being triple teamed, blah, 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 blah. He had 7 turnovers tonight.
Yeah, you're right. You're 100% right. The excuse that I will give for him in that situation is that Christian Brown and Russell Westbrook were standing on the same spot on the floor, and Kawhi Leonard was able to guard both of them at the same time because they were in the same exact spot. It's not an excuse. It's just what happened. And there were so many other things that he threw a ball, he tried to lob to Peyton Watson. And it was such a bad lob pass that I thought that he was just thinking that Peyton was going to stay in the corner. But it just wasn't a good Jokic game overall. And this was a moment where they needed him to be more aggressive, taking better shots, taking a mid-range, just doing the things that he usually does. And for whatever reason, he just wasn't confident in the mid-range area and with the free throws. The free throws were a massive killer.
Yeah. The free throws are kind of random and weird. I do think it's interesting that he seems more uncertain to me than I think I've ever remembered him being. He just seems very uncertain. He's not firing the 3-pointer with confidence. He's I'm gonna no okay, all right, maybe I'll put okay. He just doesn't seem confident. He seems like he's trying to solve the puzzle. And when the Clippers are there's no puzzle here, we're sending everyone at you. If you have the ball, we're gonna do everything possible to make anybody else beat us because you're the best player on the team by far, right?
Yeah, it's just it's a tough situation for anybody to be in, but it's the plight of a superstar, right? That's the job, and it's something that Kawhi Leonard was able to deal with, and he made 15 of 19 from the field in this game and was fantastic. But it's why I was concerned about spacing. I want to make sure to give Russell Westbrook credit for hitting the threes that he was supposed to hit, for hitting those shots. Despite that, the Clippers are still going to clog the paint, especially when Christian Brown, when Aaron Gordon are all out there. And it just felt
I don't really understand the spacing thing because it's look, they got great open corner threes consistently off of all these actions. They were able to and I guess here's the question is okay, I'm trying to think who's a good Trey Murphy. Let's say they got Trey Murphy the third in the corner, right? They're still going to send that. They're still sending the house at Joker. They're still going to do it.
I mean, if they want to do that, then here's the thing. The stats will say that Russell Westbrook is just as good of a corner 3-point shooter as Trey Murphy this year. So maybe they shouldn't be doing it, but they do. I really just think it's a reputation thing in a lot of these cases. And that's,
but the reason they were able to get
their reputation either.
The reason they were able to get back in the game was because Russ hit those corner threes.
I agree. I'm with you.
Isn't it good then that the spacing was compacted because that led to open corner threes?
No. And the reason why is because it bothers so many of Denver's primary actions, and it's why Jokic has as many turnovers as he does. It's when you're seeing a clogged paint over and over and over again, it's causing you to make more errors, in my opinion.
You think all of this is just because of the spacing?
No, I think part of it is because Jokic played 43 minutes and he's probably gassed. He played the entire 24 minutes in the second half. But the other thing is like, okay, yeah, I don't agree with the flopping thing. Like he got elbowed in the stomach. Like,
no, everyone, like even Adam said it, man.
Okay, like fine. I'm allowed to have my opinion on this one. I think that's like, look, Joker he's going to make errors, and he made the errors that Kawhi Leonard made in game 1. And Kawhi Leonard got better, and he was much more precise in game 2 and figured it out. Like, okay, so if they're playing, can they easily play in the gaps in those situations if you trust the shooters on the outside? I think is a fair question. Like when teams are gapping as hard as they are.
But they did trust the shooters because that's how he kicked to the corner for the threes.
Yeah, and like maybe he shouldn't be forcing the issue at all. Maybe he should just be getting the ball, like getting off the ball entirely, taking 6 shots, and just doing everything that he can to stay out of the paint because there's no reason for him to drive in there.
I think it's tough just because I think it's like the decisions have to be quicker. Like AG was able to hit him on a pin down or an off screen action, which got him rolling into the rim and he drew a foul, like those kind of actions versus him kind of quarterbacking. I don't think he needs to be the quarterback in at least up top in the series because the Clippers have scouted those actions, I think, extremely well. Like they're playing those gaps, I think, extremely well. Like a lot of this is also like I expected Christian Brown to have a great series and he's been nothing because the Clippers are just like, no, we can take this away. It's fine. Like the bare minimum takes care of Christian Brown's offense.
Yeah.
And Christian's a spacer you trust.
You can stay up to date all year on the LA Clippers by subscribing to Locked On Sports Today and Locked On Clippers on YouTube or wherever you get podcasts. Your Locked On Sports Today. Coming up, the Knicks wanted to press the advantage in game 2. Before we get to that, the NCAA is still trying to figure out exactly what name, image, and likeness means for the future of college sports. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place, so you stop just managing your money and you start building wealth. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track spending, and even plan long-term goals. Managing money with your partner is smoother than ever. You can track shared and personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page without the stress. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNFL at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNFL for half off your first year. The NCAA Division I Board of Directors on Monday proposed deleting 153 long-standing rules from its handbook, a move that would allow schools to share financial benefits directly with players, an expected step toward a new era of amateurism in college athletics, which is to say an era without true amateurism, but one that remains contingent upon the approval of the House settlement. NCAA board members met for about 4 hours on Monday, according to reports, and emerged with 9 major proposed legislative changes, including permission for schools to provide direct financial payments to players, including for their name, image, and likeness. NCAA leaders are aiming to reshape the organization's role and are poised to try and put together sweeping changes by July 1st if the settlement is approved. Basically, the NCAA doesn't want to get left out in the cold with all this money flying around. They want to be in charge, which who can blame them? And over on the diamond, the Red Sox got a win on Patriots Day.
And on Sunday, it was doom and gloom. You're thinking, White Sox, if they garner a split of the series, they're going to win the season series. Didn't happen. And how about a great storyline? Aroldis Chapman pitches the 8th inning. Who leads off? Bobby Dahlbeck, just called up from AAA Charlotte in the White Sox minor league system. Dahlbeck strikes out on 3 pitches. And that at-bat was going to go one of 2 ways. Dahlbeck was going to touch up Aroldis Chapman for a home run, or he was going to strike out on 3 pitches. He struck out on 3 pitches. Now the next batter, another former Red Sox player, Andrew Benintendi, touches up Chapman with a home run. And that makes it a 4-2 ball game. So Chapman gives up a run, works the 8th inning. Slayton 1, 2, 3, 9th. Lou Merlone mentioned it. I think Slayton's now retired. 21 straight batters, picks up the save, his 3rd on the season.
After a rough start, the Braves won their 4th straight.
Got a little dicey in the end, but the Atlanta Braves hang on to get the win. Their 4th straight win so far. Jake Mastriani from Locked On Braves. And what a wild game on Monday night. Spencer Schwellenbach got the start in this one. Went 7 innings, but the Cardinals had a pretty good approach against him. Were able to scratch across a few runs. The Atlanta Braves offense kind of quiet in the middle innings, but then that 8th inning, once again, 5 runs on the board. They get a big comeback. Michael Harris with a bases loaded sac fly to give the Braves a lead. And then on the next pitch, Sean Murphy, a 3-run home run to pad that lead, which they needed. Raisel Iglesias comes in for a non-save situation, gives up 3 runs, but leaves it right there with the go-ahead run at the plate, and Nolan Arenado gets a tapper right in front of the plate for the final out to end it. What a wild game for the Atlanta Braves, but the streak is alive. It's 4 in a row. We'll see what happens on Tuesday. The unfortunate news was Spencer Strider, which we'll talk about on the postcast and over on Locked On Braves.
For the 2nd game in a row, the New York Knicks found themselves battling back against the 6th-seeded Detroit Pistons at home in Game 2. They were unable to get it done. No big run coming to save the day. A 100-94 loss at the Garden to even this series at 1 game apiece. Gavin Shaw from Locked On Knicks joins me now. And Gavin, this is a problem now that the Knicks have found themselves having to scrap and claw and fight their way back. What is it about this matchup that has tilted in Detroit's favor through 2 games?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm torn between giving Detroit a lot of credit because they are a very good team. Cade Cunningham is a special player, should make an All-NBA team this year. Future perennial MVP candidate, I think. But the Knicks, from a pure talent perspective, probably have 4 of the 5 best players in this series. Like I look to Tom Thibodeau when I look at how close it is, and I look at an over-reliance on a starting lineup that has played dramatically more minutes than any other 5-man group in the league and has been decidedly average all year. In fact, since the All-Star break, they've actually had a negative net rating, and yet he continues to rely on them. And they just clearly, for whatever reason, and there are a bunch, probably too many to go into here, don't click together. There were long stretches in this game where I thought Jalen Brunson was trying to play hero ball, which worked perfectly with the team they had last year, and now is a waste of the offensive talent that they gave up 7 first-round picks to accumulate. And by the time things clicked into place, he started hitting shots. The offense started flowing. To your point, it was just a little too late for them.
And you know, you mentioned the amount of minutes these guys, the load that they are bearing. OG Anunoby played 42 minutes. Jalen Brunson played 44 minutes. Josh Hart 40 minutes. Jalen Brunson had some looks at the hoop, some looks from 3 late in the game. They couldn't get these jump shots to fall. I mean, it would be very easy to go, tired legs, see?
Yeah, I don't know if I default to that. I mean, I thought Brunson, maybe his most efficient stretch, was isolating down the stretch in the 4th quarter. Mikal Bridges was the one.
There was some foul grifting in there too, Gavin.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you know what? But and it was not working early in the game, and the refs got more sympathetic to his cause because it started working late, multiple times in the 4th quarter, getting to the line on pump fake threes, which typically does not happen in playoff games when your entire intent is to draw fouls. So Brunson was maybe a little fortunate, but Mikal Bridges, I mean, after what I thought was like a signature game for him in the making, comes back in off the bench and just misses 4 shots, like a contested corner 3, an isolation on Tobias Harris, another pretty good look at a 3, and then the best one was the straight on one, chance to tie it at 97 and just clanked it off front iron. So they had their opportunities, ultimately just couldn't take advantage of them. They head to Detroit, tied 1-1 because of it.
Yeah, I want to ask about the offense here because 94 points at home. This was a team that was top 10 in scoring during the regular season. It was, in fact, the offense in very not Tom Thibodeau style. It was the offense, not the defense, that had carried this team through long stretches of the season. What is it about Detroit that is bothering them so much?
Yeah, again, I'm not 100% sure it's something Detroit specific when this starting lineup got off to this incredible start to the season, right? I think second in the NBA in offensive rating, but an offensive rating that would have been top 5 in NBA history for the first 35 games or so. And then again, like over a 40-game stretch, they've been a slightly better than average offense. Like they have not been great on that end of the floor for a long time. And I think the way Detroit actually leveraged it in this game was they started in the regular season. They did not put a big on Josh Hart. They guarded the Knicks traditionally. We've seen all the smartest teams in the league put a wing on Karl Anthony Towns. Detroit made that pivot in game 1, but they didn't fully leverage it because Jalen Duren wasn't actually like doubling off of Josh Hart. He was just sort of hovering in no man's land. Clearly, JB Bickerstaff drove home the importance of him to actually get a hard double on Karl Anthony Towns. And in turn, you see a game where Towns plays 33 minutes, scores 10 points, has 0 assists, takes 2 threes, misses both of them. And offensively, defensively, I actually thought he was pretty good for the most part. Offensively, almost completely fails to impact this game, is probably one of the 10 most talented offensive players in the league. And again, some of that goes back to Tom Thibodeau. Some of that goes back to limitations in Towns' game where he has an inability to pass against double teams. But I also just revert to the lineups they had on the floor, poorly spaced, and Detroit, I think, extracted the maximum amount of pain for the Knicks' lack of spacing, lack of cohesion.
So where do they go here? Now the series is tied 1-1. You go to Detroit. This is a young, hungry team that now believes, look, we should have won both those games in New York. And look, maybe they should have. So how does New York regroup here?
So you would hope that Tibbs recognizes that they need to get more shooting out there. I think they need to not have a minute of a game where both Brunson and Towns are on the bench, which they did in the second quarter of this one. I would continue to play the bench guys in the second half. I mean, we saw Campaign like single-handedly flip the game the other night, and then he plays 4 minutes, isn't particularly good in those 4 minutes, and we literally don't see him again the rest of the night, and that's just too high of a standard, right? Like you can't, like you can have a bad 4 minutes and you deserve the right to play if you were that good the game before. But also when he's on the floor, like throw Mikal Bridges out there who struggles to get enough touches with the starting group and let him carry a second unit. I just think the way Tom Thibodeau has structured his lineups has been pretty egregious this entire season. I kind of doubt if he's going to make an adjustment on that. And then the other thing that they have to do is figure out a way to get Karl Anthony Towns going. Hopefully more pick and pop with Jalen Brunson. I know it's a little harder to do when there's a wing there, but some of that is Brunson just like not taking shots over double teams and instead spotting an OG Anunoby in the corner, spotting a Karl Anthony Towns, clapping at the top of the wing. It happened multiple times in this game where Brunson's teammates were clearly frustrated with him because he was trying to be the hero and he was forcing up bad shots.
Stay up to date all year on the New York Knicks by subscribing to Locked On Sports Today and Locked On Knicks on your favorite podcast app and on YouTube. Coming up, you better have a high pick in the first round if you want the best receiver in the draft. Plenty of buzz out there. Ashton Genty could go very high in the first round. Tetairoa McMillan is widely considered the best receiver in this draft. As Locked On NFL Draft host Damian Parsons and Keith Sanchez discussed, you better have a top 10 pick if you want him.
Yeah, it depends on how bought in you are to T-Mac, right? Because I think it's a situation where it seems like people either really love him or they kind of hate him. Yeah, it's one of the two, right? And if you're in the love category, he can go as high as 4 to New England, right? You say, hey, you know, Drake May needs a big target. He's a big body wide receiver, a true number one with, you know, upside to be a true X wide receiver, right? He can go as high as New England. But then I think if you look at the hate-em side of it, right, the kind of like, we're not 100% sure, that's the people that may have him falling in the Seattle range, right? Like he's closer to 20 than he is to top 5 pick. So I think, but just looking overall, I'll say I think I look at multiple teams. You look at New England, could they use a quarterback? Where would Jacksonville fall? I mean, not a quarterback, I'm sorry, a wide receiver. Where would Jacksonville fall in the wide receiver conversation? Is that possible, right? Do they skip defensive line, O-line, and try to give Trevor Lawrence another big body wide receiver? Liam Cohen is coming from Tampa Bay, where they had Mike Evans, right? He understands the importance of size at the wide receiver position. They drafted Brian Thomas. Do you get him a young running mate, you know, to go opposite of him? So you have New England, Jacksonville, Vegas is enough. Like, I think all of these teams, to be honest, New England, Jacksonville, Las Vegas, they could use a wide receiver. No more Devontae Adams, right? And then Brock Bowers, but you need a guy. They don't have dudes at the wide receiver position. The New York Jets, can you pair somebody up with Garrett Wilson? Yes, you can. The Carolina Panthers, can they use a young wide receiver? Of course they can. The New Orleans Saints. The Saints have so much stuff going on right now. You know what? I was going to say Tetairoa McMillan to the Saints. The Saints got bigger problems. They got bigger, what they say, they have bigger fish to fry out there. So they need to skip T-Mac because they just need to figure out just look yourself in the mirror. Look yourself in the mirror and figure it out. So I go, and that was maybe 5 teams in the top 10 that I just listed, not including, Dallas and teams like that right outside of the top 10.
Tetairoa McMillan has had a roller coaster pre-draft process. A couple months ago, as recently as probably February, it looked like Tet McMillan could be a top 5 kind of pick. That the New England Patriots, the kind of player they would consider at 4 overall. Then there were questions about his speed. At a private workout, he ran in the mid 4.5s, and it was, could McMillan be around in the teens? Could he fall to the 20s? Could a team like the Green Bay Packers at 23? Something we talked about on Locked On Packers. This has returned now, it seems, at least according to reporting, multiple reports out there. We saw NFL Network report. He could be the first skill player, depending on how you want to categorize Travis Hunter, off the board. That's where he always deserved to be. He is a top 10 talent in this draft. Those guys just don't last. So all the silliness, all of silly season brought us back to where we always should have been. And finally, there will be books and maybe a series on Amazon Prime about the debacle of the Luka Doncic trade to the LA Lakers, a debacle at least for Dallas fans. Most of it will focus on what Nico Harrison doesn't know. He apparently didn't know how much Mavs fans liked Luka. Those are his words. Here's what he said. I did know that Luka was important to the fan base. I didn't quite know it to what level. What? Maybe if you're standing in front of a microphone and your charge is to make the best decisions for the team, don't list things you don't know and maybe know how important the best player maybe in franchise history is to the fan base. That seems like a pretty easy thing to know, maybe. If you're catching this episode after hearing your favorite Locked On show, make sure to subscribe to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss an episode. Also, if you're a new subscriber to Locked On Sports Today, we're here for you with the biggest stories in sports every day. Coming up, can LeBron James even his series with the Timberwolves? So at least until tomorrow, stay locked on sports today.
Locked On Podcast Network presents Locked On Sports Today.
For more episodes of Locked On Sports Today, go to our video on demand. Click on sports at the top of your screen. There, you'll find past episodes of Locked On Sports Today, plus other Locked On shows on demand.